Hello, hello, hello. Hello, my name is Pamela Mitchell. A I am an office management consultant specializing in tax advisement. I help freelancers and entrepreneurs, self-employed individuals get their finances in order accordance to IRS guidelines and regulations so that when they file taxes, everything is in order. Uh, just a quick scope, nothing important to cover today. It's just that on social media, there's been this whole, there was this Instagram post I saw about Team iPhone. No, it was what did the girl say? Something about uh, iPhone users being kind of snobby, uppity. I am not a fan of any Apple product. So I just thought this would be my lighthearted scope for today. So I've been a fan of Samsung long before Android was even developed. So it's always been Team Samsung for me, which is the Android operating system. And every phone that I get has basically been a Samsung. It's always been my choice. So personally, every device that I have is pretty much an Android operating system. Now, as far as professionally speaking and growing my business, um, when it comes down to it, when I started out, I was a trainer of Microsoft Office applications. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote. I do training sessions on those. So I basically built my business around the Microsoft products. So of course, when it was time for me to upgrade to a computer, I naturally went to the Microsoft Surface. I've had mine going on 2 years now. It's almost time to upgrade, but it's still working perfectly fine. And those are kind of pricey. So as a business expense, that is a no for right now. But it is my preference to have a um, Windows product. Oh, to the point where I considered when I first got my Surface, I wanted to do a blog post on the Surface versus the iPad. I am not a fan of the iPad. I never have been. I'm not a fan of mass consumerism. And I feel like that's what the iPad is. You want to go out and get it because it's the next big thing. Now, my career is based on higher education. I've about 90% of my career I've been in higher education. So, when I first started out, again, with it being personally, my cell phone has always been a Samsung, but my laptop, my tablets, they've always been the convertibles. So when those first came about, I had to have me a convertible notebook. The ones where you it's a laptop and you flip it over and you flip it down, and then you had your own little writing pad, and I've kept that going also. So when the Surface came about, super excited about that. But again, with it being education, it was one of those where it was the ultimate educational device. But again, and then with the popularization of iPads, it was the next big thing, and you want to put this into place, and you just had to have the iPad. But it's, in my opinion, it's less of an educational tool than the Surface. Adjust this a little bit better. So, you can go all day back and forth, the pros and cons of the Surface, pros and cons of the iPad, pros and cons of the iPhone, and things like that. But it's not my cup of tea. Probably won't ever be. But I do agree with that post where the girl said something about, your phone is probably on a finance plan too. You either got it free or it's on a finance plan. The price is outrageous for a cell phone. And I do agree with Mark Zuckerberg. He is trying to, or he's predicted that smartphones are going to go away eventually. What's going to be in the place of a smartphone? No idea. But bottom line, again, with the pros and cons of it, Microsoft Office based, Team Windows, go Team Windows, go Team Android. Team iPhone is a boo for me. One thing, like I said, with that Surface, and people talk about how Samsung was trying to copy the iPhone. What do you think that what is it called now? The iPad now has their own computer version where they have a detachable piece. They even came up with a stylus after Steve Jobs passed away. Steve Jobs never felt the need for a stylus to go with his devices. But in education, and I keep jumping all over the place, with education as an educational tool, it's a hybrid. I have the Microsoft Surface. It's a hybrid PC / tablet. So on the PC side, I have the full functionality of full operating system of the Microsoft Office suite. I have my Word, my PowerPoint, my Excel, my Access, which is another benefit why I can never go over to Apple products. I develop databases. I develop Microsoft Access databases. That is something that is not compatible with any Apple product. And I kind of know the reason why. That's too technical for me to even try to explain. It's not my thing. But I design databases, daycare databases, membership, money management. I just build databases. Another application is Microsoft Project. I don't believe that is compatible with an Apple product either. So even if I wanted to switch over to the Apple product, I would not be able to. I will say this is my biggest plus for me, again, with that convertible. When these first came about with the tablets, that you cannot do with an Apple product, as far as I know, is writing. So I am able to write on my tablet. It's great for meetings. When I was in meetings, I'd write out my notes. I write faster than I type. I think most kids nowadays, they type faster than they write, but I write faster than I type. So no, I cannot sit in class typing my notes. I cannot sit in a meeting typing my notes. So I have here, when I go to church, I take my notes. Can you see that? Take my notes. And this is in OneNote, and OneNote is across all devices, it's across all platforms. So you can get the OneNote with the iPad. You just won't be able to write on it. Let's see. And then with that, after you write everything out, let's see if I can pull that up. You can do ink to text. So when you press that button, it automatically types up your notes for you. Of course, you go through, you do your proofread, check your grammar, check your punctuation. but it's pretty much done all of that for you. Something that Microsoft has done with almost all of its devices now, of course, with the Surface keyboard, tablet, detachable. I keep mine together. But again, with those meetings, flip that back, and I have my fully functioning tablet now. Now, of course, with this being a Windows product and it's a tablet, it doesn't have the same apps. It doesn't really bother me. I'm not much of a social media person, and anything that I need access to, because it's a hybrid, I can just pull it up online. I don't need the app. So I am Team Android by day, Team Windows by night. So that was just my little lighthearted, easy scope for the evening. I will be picking back up with more specific topics after tomorrow. It's just that with that post about the iPhone, the girl says she won't even date a guy if he doesn't have an iPhone. That's a bit much. But hey, I mean, as they say, do you, boo. So with that, team Android. All right, have a good evening, Late Scope. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's just a personal opinion. No need for a share or anything. But if you catch the replay, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Again, my name is Pamela Mitchell. I'm an office management consultant. I specialize in financial management for entrepreneurs, freelancers, and independent contractors. I help them to manage their finances in accordance with IRS guidelines and regulations, so that they are have the information that they need in the event of an audit. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Have a good evening.